welcome to the Festival of Storytellers.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be on right now. It's been a couple of weeks of excitement getting prepared, and I've done a lot of things in my life, but this has got to be close to the top.
Thank you, and Reader's Magnet, and thank you, John, for putting this forth and taking the chance on our authors in presenting this out to the world.
I've enjoyed this immensely, Joanne.
Ellie, so have I. Thank you for who you are, and thank you, Reader's Magnet. You all are beautiful, and you've worked so very hard, and we are blessed.
We are.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers. We thank Reader's Magnet and everybody that's involved. I love Reader's Magnet. They say, we share your stories with the world.
Greetings and salutations once again. This is M.A. HADDAD, and I'm the author of The Shadow of the Staff. Tomorrow is just a day away, and also The Shadow of the Staff, Wizard's Revenge, which was the first book I wrote. I've been on and off on here now for about 2 weeks, and I know the people that are putting this together have been breaking their backsides and have done a great job and are helping all of us authors out and getting us relaxed and making it seem like this is a real easy thing for all of us. Well, I want to be honest with you. When I first got into this, I thought, half hour of talking about me and writing my books and my stories and what they're all about. It'd be easy to sit on there for a couple weeks and talk about for a half hour at a time. Well, today nothing came to me. I just couldn't come up with any real ideas of what more I could say that I haven't already said. And then it kind of made me go all the way back to when I tried to find a publisher for my book. Well, I found out first and foremost a real hard lesson, and that's the fact that the quote mainstream media people, or whoever they are, the main book companies that we all hear of and know of, don't take unsolicited work. All right, well, that's fine. I'll just get my work solicited. Well, that's easier said than done, because I live in Toledo, Ohio. This is not the mecca of literary agents. They're not banging on everybody's door going, hey, there's enough of us here in town, we'll cover your books. So I had to reach out a little bit further throughout the state of Ohio. And again, not too many takers, especially for fantasy, which is what I like to write. So I finally tracked down a couple of folks out in California, and they basically shot me down and said, well, you know, nah, we're not interested in that genre right now. So that was my first attempt and my first real learning at what is really involved to get your story out there. And that made me realize that writing just wasn't enough. And I always thought that it would be. I thought that once you wrote a book and it was on the New York Times bestsellers, like we all written books, that's where they go. And they're on every store shelf and every bookstore that you see. And there's your book looking at you. And you turn it over and you see your own picture on the back of the book. And you're just as proud as you can be because there it is. Well, it doesn't quite work that way. Reader's Magnet is my third self-publishing company that I've gone to, which they have been fantastic. And I'm glad that I finally hooked up with them. The first two, not so much. The first one, I no sooner sent them things and got things rolling, and then they went bankrupt and went out of business, and I was left holding the bag. So that was my first experience in that area. Then I hooked up with another group after a few more years, because I was, to be honest, a little bit chafed and kind of, I had a little bit of woe is me going on. How am I going to get this published? How am I going to get this story out there? It's such a great story. It's all about this underachiever in the mythical land of HADDAD, and how he has powers that nobody else in his area have, and even the elves are stumped, and everybody's just, wizards are just looking at him like, we don't know how you have these powers, we don't understand it. And then how he goes off and wants to go to a celebration, and that celebration basically gets canceled because there's an evil power that came from somewhere beyond everybody's borders, and they were invading the area, and what they wanted was him. That he is the goal of everything that happens in the first book. There's a wizard that's after him, and that's, again, a wizard's revenge. Tells you right there. And the shadow of the staff is because the staff of power got broken, pretty much like Lord of the Rings, where they unmade the ring. This is, they unmake and break the staff of power. Well, he's the last descendant of the last of the group that destroyed it, and he's going to go to the celebration, and everything breaks loose, and he never gets to have his celebration, and he goes off and does all sorts of things, which leads into the second book. Well, by now I'd been contacted, and I've talked to Reader's Magnet, and they were so kind as to reprint my first book, The Shadow of the Staff, Wizard's Revenge. And then I started writing the second book, and they were really, really, really helpful. And the reason I say that is, in my past two experiences prior to them, everybody kind of wanted to dictate what I was doing. And in some ways, I felt like my creativity was being stifled, to be totally honest. I had a few, oh, that'll never work, or don't try that. Maybe you should try going in this direction with your story. Just little hints, little knick-knack thingies, instead of saying, hey, here's your book. Let's just clean it up and let's put it out there, which is all I wanted to do. I never pictured myself sitting in front of a computer talking to God knows how many people about my book, and about my second book as well. It wasn't something I ever pictured. I did assume one day that, I'll do a book signing or something, and that should be kind of fun, maybe a little traveling involved, so on and so forth. But it was always with other companies, it's been wait. And I guess that really brings me to the point of what I'm trying to say is, if you're a writer, write. Don't let anybody tell you what to put in those pages, what not to put in those pages, and understand that it's going to be an uphill struggle. And it's not going to be the easiest thing you ever did, but the rewards are well worth it. I've got two books now. The second one's coming out very shortly. You can go to my website, which is www.mahaddadnovels.com. I did notice that on my booth front, there's a a little icon you can click on that'll take you right to my webpage. It'll tell you how to order the books and those things. So again, that's the thing that Reader's Magnet has done for me in helping to set up a web page, helping to get the word out there for me. But at no point have they been stifling. If anything, they've promoted the little idiosyncrasies that are me and what makes up the writer. We've talked a lot in the last 2 weeks, at least I have, about what makes up a book, a good book, or how did you write this? Who inspired you? What happened to get you into writing? All of those things. And that's really great. But I think the number one factor beyond all of it is getting support and staying with the project and staying with what you truly want written. I think everybody that writes, and this is my own personal opinion, so don't anybody get mad at me if you don't agree. I think everybody that writes thinks that they're writing the next Gone with the Wind or The Great Expectations. You're writing the next great novel. Going to be the greatest thing to come along since sliced bread. You're 100% behind it. You love it. You love the way it turned out. And then you have trouble getting it published, or you have issues with the publisher wanting to tell you, no, that part will never work. You can't put that in the story. And that's not the way writing is supposed to be. I don't feel that I've written the next great novel. Yeah, I've had some reviews, and I've been mentioned in the same sentence with Tolkien, which kind of makes me feel good because he's one of the writers that really inspired me to get into this. And so that's a nice feeling. But then it wasn't always positive either to be compared to another writer. Maybe it's ego, maybe it's knowledge as you go along, but it's kind of nice to be known as being me and being M.A. HADDAD, the author. And my style of writing is my style of writing. Not everybody's going to like it, but you know what? That's what I write. That's what I've had published. That's what's out there for the world to read. So I can live with that. And yeah, you're going to have critics. You know, I've had them, and I'm sure I'll have more. I've had negative things said about my work, which, okay, yeah, at first it hurt, but then I went, you know what? You can't make everybody happy. You want to, and you'd love everybody to think that that book is the next Gone with the Wind, and they're just fighting over it. But it doesn't really work out that way, like I said. And it's nice to know that there's people out there that are supportive. There's people like all of you folks that are out there listening to me right now and watching me do this, maybe for the third or fourth time for all I know. But the fact that there's at least enough credibility in my writing and enough credibility in the people that I work with, and in some cases I honestly feel for a little bit, although they'll say they work for me, they always do. But sometimes I think it is the other way around, and that's okay. Working together is how you get to where you want to be with books, with ideas, anything like that. It's the old saying, no man is an island. Well, that's true. So I've been very fortunate in the fact that I've hooked up with Reader's Magnet, and the people there that have helped me been very, very supportive. And I can't thank them enough, because look at what they've done in the last 2 weeks. I mean, they've put on, I never expected anything like this. I'm not going to lie to you. It is really very, very broad based. It's very professional. The stuff behind the scenes that you don't even see are just tremendous. It's not, it doesn't intimidate you, and it doesn't make you feel like you're any lesser of an author than anybody else that's been out here talking. And that's a real nice feeling to know that you're considered to be part of a group now, that you're not just writing and reading for yourself, which is how I'm sure a lot of people feel at one point or another, that, I'm just doing this for me. It's never going to go anywhere. I refuse to take that answer. And as a result, I've got a couple of books out and I'm working on the third one, The Shadow of the Staff, Torden's Journey. And you'll have to read book 1, A Wizard's Revenge, to find out who Torden is. But he's a very important character. And one of the things that I just fell in love with the cover of the book. I couldn't help it. I mean, it's gorgeous. And what we've done is we're keeping the same cover for every book I write for him, at least in this series, The Shadow of the Staff. And the only thing we're doing different is on the spine, you'll see a Roman numeral 1. The next book will have a Roman numeral 2. The third book, Roman numeral 3, so on and so forth. For as many books as it takes me to tell the story the way I want to tell the story and the way I want to have it read. And again, that's one of the nice things about the people I'm working with, is they're letting me decide that. There's nobody saying, okay, wrap it up in 3 books. Oh, can you just do 2 more? Can you write 10 more? There's none of that. There's none of that, which I understand from talking to other people, not necessarily writers, but people that know things, that there's also a lot of, okay, we want you to write 4 books and that's it. And then we want you to write something else. Start a whole new story, because readers will be tired after the 4th book. They won't want to read a 5th book. Well, if the story's there, which I think it is, then I see no reason why you can't write like Edgar Rice Burroughs, 12 or 13 chapters of John Carter of Mars. Nobody was telling him to stop. So he kept writing and introduced new characters, and the story plot went on and on and on. And that's kind of how I feel. I'm going to get to the point eventually where, okay, now I can put a bow on it. I look at it as I'm writing a story that I enjoy telling, that I've enjoyed creating, fictional characters, a fictional world, and it's fantasy and it's fun. There's parts in the books that'll make you laugh. There's parts for suspense. And it's just the way I wanted it to be. And some of it's just itty bitty little hints about things to come. I like readers to be a part of the story, and I think that most readers want to be. As a writer, I think it's kind of our I don't know. It's kind of our duty, I guess, would be to let the reader get into the story and let them escape for a while. And, wherever that may take them, whether they think they're part of the story, they identify with a certain character, they like this or they don't like something, or there's somebody in there they don't like and they just can't wait to see that guy killed off and it doesn't happen, or it does happen, or whatever the case may be. But as a reader, I've always liked the book that I can't put down. Generally speaking, if I read a book, 2 days later, I haven't picked it back up again, I probably won't. And that's just me. There's something missing from the storyline that doesn't engross me, doesn't get me involved in the story. And I think that's paramount in everything that's ever been written, is for a reader to be involved. It's especially more important when you're doing fantasy, because fantasy is just that. It's ideas out of your head. It's a storyline in a magical place that you're creating that can have, the sky's the limit. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to create, however you want somebody to talk, you can do all of that. And yeah, sometimes it's not grammatically correct, but that's okay. Not everything has to be right inside the cookie cutter box. It's good to have things that are outside of that box a little bit. Um, you don't want to go, I think, hog wild and make it to the point where, nonsensical words and things like that. But yeah, you can create things and name them however you want to name them. You can name your characters. And that's the fun that I've had in doing the Shadow of the Staff. And tomorrow is just a day away, which is the second book, like I said, will be out soon. I understand we're just waiting on some paperwork. And that story I've taken and I've kind of broken away more from a recognizable style that I had in the first book. Like I said, I've been mentioned with Tolkien, and that's because my first book is pretty reminiscent of Lord of the Rings and that type of thing. And I've even been told it's a carbon copy, which it's not, but that's okay. Again, you got to have thick skin if you're going to write. But the second book, I venture out on my own, and I've created some new ideas and new places and just some stuff I'm very, very proud of, along with a couple of characters that I think are just, I love them as characters, and that's the only way to put it. I've introduced gnomes in my books, which I don't know if gnomes have been in many books, but they're in mine. And one in particular, and he's just a grumpy old guy. And he's fun to read about and fun to listen to, and he tells it exactly how he sees it. He is what everybody wants to be, an open book that just comes out and says, this is what I want to say, and I'm going to say it, and I really don't care if you like it or not. So that makes him a fun character to write for, because it gives me the opportunity to let part of my personality go that I don't normally use. And I think we're all like that when we write, especially fantasy writers. There's a little bit of you in every character. And I think most writers will say that across the board, and it really doesn't matter what they're writing about. But there's a little bit of them in each and every character, or there's a piece of somebody that you just have to put it in there because it fits that character and it's great for the story. And that's what you want. You want to turn out that great story and have fun doing it. And so you borrow little bits and pieces from people and make them into not 7 or 8 different people, but maybe one person that has all these little quirks, or their personality is such and such. Maybe they're very stoic. Obviously, I'm not a stoic person, so that's a character that would be a little difficult for me to write. But I've been able to achieve that, I believe, in a couple of the characters that are kings or lords or whatever that you would expect to be a little more stoic than, say, your run-of-the-mill person on the road. So in developing the characters, I've had a lot of fun with that. And again, I haven't allowed anybody tell me no. I've been told certain characters I better not kill off, which, okay, I'm not planning to, but that doesn't mean that 2 books from now that might not change. But the characters they're in reference to, I probably won't kill off because I like them too. And it's there's those little things. And again, it's just, I wouldn't be where I am talking to you, trying to explain what, little writing experience I do have, and how I got to where I'm at, if I would have listened to the first person who said no, that I'm sorry, we can't help you. Here's your rejection letter. And I refused to do that. And that was for a very personal and to a degree selfish reason, but it worked out in the end, and that's what's important for me. So if you're an aspiring writer, give it a shot, but don't be discouraged. Don't feel beaten down. Don't don't let the bad guys get you. Things happen. We all know that. I call it my own personal self. I say that sometimes life gets in the way. And by that, I mean our goal and our quest, where we want to go, where we want to be, and what we want to do. Sometimes life just doesn't let you get there. Well, you keep fighting, and eventually life will let you have the things that you want. You'll get your books published. You'll get them read. Maybe you'll get a movie offer. Maybe you won't. Who knows? You know, if I had that and I had a crystal ball, then I'd say everybody here that is listening to me and watching me is going to go out, and you're going to go to the website www.mahaddadnovels.com, and you're going to go there and click on a link, or you're going to go to Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble, all online, and you're going to order A Wizard's Revenge. And then when the second book comes out, you'll do the same thing, and you'll order the second book, and you'll wait patiently for the third book to come out, which I expect to be late spring, early summer, to get that book completed. And hopefully you'll enjoy the works that I've enjoyed writing and that I've put my effort into, much the same as I hope you've enjoyed the Festival of Storytellers and all of the work and all of the behind scenes things that the folks have at Reader's Magnet. And, you know, what they've done is, this is a phenomenal job that they've put together. It's way, way more than I ever envisioned it to be. And I can't thank them enough. They're fantastic people. You know, this is it for me. This is the last time I get to do this till probably the next Festival of Storytellers. So I just want to make sure that they know how much I appreciate them. And I'm sure that all of the people that have been a part of this for the last 2 weeks, authors, festival goers, I'm sure everybody is very thankful for the hard work and the effort that's gone into this, because it's the same hard work and it's the same effort that they've put behind me and publishing my books and getting my story out to the world. And without them, I don't know if I would have finished the second book. But with them, it was a lot easier because they made it feel easy. And for that, I'm going to be forever grateful, and in particularly grateful for all this time that I've got to get my face out there and talk to everybody that's listening and watching. And hopefully I've gotten some words across that'll help make sense to whatever you may be trying to do, whether it's just looking around or you're trying to learn for reading or for writing or for whatever you want to do. And if I can be a little part of that, then I'm very happy about that. And like I said, this is a very big undertaking, and I did not expect all of this. So I'm ready for them next time. Now they won't get me as easily next time, at least by surprising me with what is actually going on. Now that I've seen one, I hope to be able to participate in the next festival, because as I've just been telling you, that's part of my story. And you know, the story is what we make it. And in my particular case, I made it come into a couple of books that I love dearly, with fantastic artwork and all of their resources behind me. And it's just been a pleasure to be on here with you guys for the last couple of weeks. And I wish each and every one of you the best. And with that, folks, it's time for me to say adios until next year. Take care. And once again, thank you.